my people, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police Channel. We're an experienced detective about to educate you with facts and not hyperbole. Yes, you know we hate criminal and we hate them with a passion. You understand? And we do believe that every criminal must live in fear for their lives and not the law-abiding citizens. You understand? So it's more than a month we haven't done a video, and today is February 20th, 2022, and the time now is 3 p.m. my time. I don't know what time it is where you are around the world, but this video is long overdue, and we are here mourning with the New York City Police Department, the NYPD, in which two of their police officers were killed. Before I elaborate into that about these police officers, I want you to look at the man on the screen. Yes, man, that man's name is Dalling. He's a Jamaican, and he's an enemy of the United States of America. And he and a man by the name of Audley Carter, they have been revoking the firearm licenses of Jamaican police officers who have served the Jamaican people for decades and have migrated to the United States of America. There are three members of the New York Police Department who are former members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, whose firearms they have revoked it by both men. And Mr. Dalling had told both police officers who were police officers in Jamaica and police officers with NYPD that they don't need any gun in Jamaica because they are not living in Jamaica, as if their lives doesn't matter. So while we mourn the loss of both police officers in New York, we're just showing the focus that the hatred for a police officer is very, very deep in Jamaica. You understand? So this channel will mourn the loss of both police officers who were killed earlier this year in New York by one of the most depraved criminals. And we are happy to report that he was killed by one of the police officers who was there. Yes, man. Officer Jason Rivera, 22 years old, and he was a rookie. He was the first officer that was struck by the gunman bullet, and he died of his injuries. His partner, Officer Wilbert Moore, 27, tried to duck into the kitchen during the shooting but was struck. Moore later died. You understand? And we here at this channel, we mourn the loss of both police officers. Because a police officer, it doesn't matter where, New York, Miami, London, Jamaica, Kingston, Montego Bay, wherever they are, our police officers are the ones that represent the government and the people. And these police officers have given their life for the betterment and the security of the people of New York, and we applaud them. Unfortunately, the respect that we have seen from the political brass and the leadership in New York is totally different from where I am from, Jamaica. If this was in Jamaica, it will be a total different outcome for the killer. And another thing too, the Commissioner of Police would not promote both police officers who were killed, because we have seen where in Jamaica, where police officers are killed in the line of duty, they were not promoted as it is done here in the United States of America. So that's why we applaud our police officers from Jamaica who have migrated and have joined the New York police departments, one of the finest and one of the best police departments in the world. So that's why we here at Jamaica Young Police channel mourn the deaths of Officer Jason Rivera and Wilma Mora of New York Police Department. These police officers go above and beyond in the call of duty of giving their life for the betterment of their city. And they were so deeply honored by the city as heroes. Unlike Jamaica, where police officers, when they are killed, the citizens celebrate, because in Jamaica, you got to understand that the police are the enemies. You understand? So that is what happened. You got to understand now, that just look at this man right here, That's, who is one of the most revered, celebrated, and lauded man in Jamaica, who was born and raised there. You understand? And his name is Christopher Dudusco. So he's one of the most influential Jamaicans throughout my lifespan on earth. Not even the Prime Minister in Jamaica have the influence as this man. But although this man is in prison in the United States of America, his influence reverberates in the halls of the government of Jamaica, that the retaliation by the government against our members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force in Jamaica for helping the United States government making sure that this man was extradited from Jamaica to the United States of America of drug smuggling, gun running and stuff like that. And because of the police support for law and order, this is what has been happening in the retaliation of one of America's biggest enemies, Shane Dalling, who is the CEO of the Jamaica Firearm Licensing Authority. And another man, it's not a coincidence, that's Mr. Audley and Shane Dalling at the Jamaica Firearm Licensing Authority in Jamaica are enemies of the United States of America. And the reason why I've said this is that these are the men who are in charge of the Jamaica Firearm Licensing Authority in Jamaica in the issuance of firearms. And these people have been exploiting police officers and citizens alike in Jamaica. The thing with these men, Mr. Carter and Mr. Shane Dalling, they should be treated as enemy of the United States of America, because these people are not supportive of law and order. They have retaliated against the Jamaica Constabulary Force and its members because of their support for law and order and support against criminality in helping the American government in extraditing this man, Christopher Dudusco, who's the most influential Jamaican ever. Not even our late Bob Marley, I was saying both of the power and influence that this convicted criminal have in Jamaica. Because you got to understand, Jamaica is a criminal's paradise. People do not revere people who are law-abiding citizens in Jamaica. And if you even notice, even within the police force, you will never see an honest police officer in your lifetime to be commissioner of police in Jamaica. Not even those who are brought from the military. So the attack on the Jamaica Constabulary Force passed the current members has been, it's not a covert operation like Shane Dalling and the likes. You understand? It's an overt operation because they haven't hide their true feelings towards the police. You understand? Especially Mr. Shane Dalling. You know, imagine you're gonna tell a police officer who told you that he is a police officer of the New York Police Department, and you're gonna tell him that he doesn't need a gun when he comes to Jamaica, and he was a police officer in Jamaica, and then after the police after that spend over close to 1,000 United States dollars to renew his firearm, then you're gonna tell him that he has to reapply, and when he apply, you deny him. So that is extortion. You understand what I'm saying? What you have been doing is robbing all these police officers of their money. But yet still, this is the same agency that has made sure that convicted criminals and drug dealers under the watch of Mr. Shane Dalling are given licensed firearms. But yet still, he's pretending as if he's this model person within the Jamaican society. You understand? This man is an enemy of the United States of America and enemies of law-abiding citizens. Shane Dalling and Mr. Audley Carter, retired colonel of the Jamaica Defense Force. These men have been waxing themselves at the Jamaica Firearm License Authority. When the police had this power of issuing firearms, police officers that migrated and live overseas didn't have any problem in renewing their firearms. But since Shane Dalling, who is an anti-law-abiding citizen and a criminal supporter, benefactors of crimes and a supporter of criminal, and an anti-police person who has been hostile towards the member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force for a long period, and it's been coming to light now. We have seen where a former minister had requested that they remove this man as chairman from as a chief executive officer of the FLA. We are not really interested in that part of removing him. What we'd like to see a robust criminal investigation against this man. And two, we as police officers who have served the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaican people for decades, some of us, excluding me, receive gunshots from criminals who are lauded and celebrated in Jamaica, and these police officers who were shot and injured in the line of duty. Mr. Shane Dalling has revoked these police officers' firearm license, and there's no doubt in my mind that his efforts is deliberate and it was well planned, because you would like to see more police officers are killed, as what happened in New York with Officer Rivera and Mora. So this is the man that we who are in the diaspora, as former police officers, detectives, that we must and we will petition the United States government and the State Department in revoking these men's United States visas, because these men are enemies of the United States of America, also their family members. Mr. Shane Dalling and Mr. Audley Carter, who is the chairman of the FLA board. We understand from information received and obtained that both of them are they play a very vital and integral role in revoking police officers' firearm license in Jamaica because of the hatred that they have for police officers, whether they are in Jamaica or they have served in Jamaica, whether they were shot and injured, and once they are living in the United States of America, because America is the only country that's hold people accountable for their criminal acts. So this is their form of retaliation against the United States of America. So we here in the diaspora, as police officers, those who are willing to work with me to lobby the State Department and the Department of Justice to make sure that these men, both men, Shane Dalling, who's an enemy of the United States of America, he has been planted there by the Jamaica Labour Party, LGBTQ plus government, to retaliate and to fight this COVID war against the United States of America. Not that Jamaica can win a war against the United States of America with manpower or anything like that, but they're using the FLA as a way to retaliate against America for the extradition of Christopher to the school. And there's no reason for any police officer, current and former, to see the nexus between this man's hatred towards the police officers and members of the police force who have served with honor, courage and commitment to a very ungrateful nation that has for the past 50 years has been imparting this and socializing the people to be criminals in Jamaica and to hate the police officers. So that is the reason why our people migrate from Jamaica and go to other countries. They commit crimes so wantonly because in Jamaica criminals are celebrated and revered by our political directorate. I, as a former member of the Jamaican Constabulary Force and a veteran of the United States military, I am imploring the New York Police Department Commissioner of Police, Keishant Sewell, please dissuade your police officers from visiting Jamaica. Your police officers, because there are 2 men in Jamaica who have retaliated against 3 members of the New York Police Department who were police officers in Jamaica and are now police officers with the NYPD, and Shane Dalling and Mr. Audley Carter had revoked both men's, all 3 police officers' firearm, stating that they do not need it. So what they would like to see in Jamaica is for criminals to kill their police officers who are police officers in New York when they visit their families in Jamaica. Those of us who are from Jamaica know that Jamaica is a criminal's paradise. If you're a criminal, you're lauded, celebrated, and revered. We have seen and we have said on this channel in which you have 3 known PMP LGBTQ plus activists in Jamaica who have several firearms, and Mr. Shane Dalling and Audley Carter, they would never ever dare to revoke these men firearm. Reason being, because these men, one of them in October 1987, he had sent one of his criminal police officers along with 3 men who went to the home of a judge, the late Judge Derek Hugh, and killed him. So Mr. Shane Dalling, he knows that if he took away these people who have militias, and those of us who have served in the military know what a militia is. It's a mini army. That's where people who are criminals have guns that can kill others, so they live in fear of them because they have illegal weapons and have access to it. So this man, Mr. Audley MacArthur, is an enemy of the United States of America. Let me repeat. Mr. Audley Carter, retired colonel of the Jamaica Defense Force, is an enemy of the United States of America. He, along with Shane Dalling, has been instrumental in attacking police officers in making sure that they are disarmed and leave them to the mercy of the criminals who in Jamaica, as we have reported on this channel, that the criminals in Jamaica have no fear of the police because they have rifles, they have the money, and they have connection to politicians and other people who have influence in Jamaica. So we, as former member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, we are going to start our petition to the United States government to make sure that Mr. Audley Carter, retired colonel of the Jamaica Defense Force, who is an enemy of the United States of America, and Mr. Shane Dalling, who has been leading the covert war against the United States of America because of the extradition of Christopher Dudusco. Let me repeat myself. This war that has been waging against members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, current and former, has everything to do with the extradition of Christopher Dudusco and nothing else. It's a retaliation and it's a war against the United States of America. It has nothing to do with politics, but the hatred for police officers and law enforcement officers and law and order. These are the same people, Mr. Shane Dalling, who has been provided security at taxpayers' expense. When the police at this agency, the firearm issuing and revoking firearm license, there was not a single convicted or a person whose lacking integrity was issued a firearm in Jamaica. None. But yet, these are the same people who have been beating the drum that the Jamaica Constabulary Force is a corrupt organization with corrupt police personnel. Yes, I am the first to admit that there are corrupt individuals in the police force. Even right now, we have one of the most corrupt commissioner of police, Major Anthony Anderson, who has no business being a police officer in Jamaica. But that's how it is that corruption is rife within this government, and he's the most corrupt commissioner of police ever. Reason being, we have three of the most obvious cover-up of murders in Jamaica by this police department led by Major Anthony Anderson. And the reason why I'm saying that it's a killing of the American who died in the house of Mr. Patrick Bailey, and no one has been arrested and charged for that offense, in which the killing of this man in Mr. Bailey's house is one of the easiest murder cases ever. It's called circumstantial evidence. You understand? And this government, this commissioner of police, who a lot of people have been claiming that he's one of the best commissioner of police, and yet this case of the American who was killed in Mr. Bailey's house, the killer is walking free. There was no breaking and entering, but yet Mr. Bailey, who was present, and the only person present with the deceased man, is able to walk free because we have a corrupt police force, and their corruption if you're not a part of the corrupt system, then you are going to be treated as such. So when we are saying that the police force is corrupt, we are not hiding behind any curtain in saying that. We're giving you facts. You understand? And the facts is that there's a guy by the name of Tommy Lee Sparta, who, based on what is happening in Jamaica, whenever he's released from prison, he will be given a license firearm. Because we have seen where the Firearm License Authority have issued a man who went to prison for rape, robbery with a gun, who's in jail in Europe, Jacure, a license firearm. But Mr. Shane Dalling, this week in Jamaica, he did an interview stating about the corruption of Mr. Mark Meadows. Yet there are so many instances of Mr. Meadows' voice notes and stuff of Mr. Meadows and his emissary trying to extort members of the Jamaican society of money for them to receive their gun license. Even the shaking down of Mr. Wu and the other firearm dealers who are selling guns to Jamaican people legally. That Mr. Shane Dalling is shaking down these people. In a country that is as violent as Jamaica, at least 10% of the population should be armed with firearm. Police officers, former and current police officers should be given special treatment, as we here in the United States have enjoyed as former who have served this government we are at in various capacity in the United States of America, especially those of us who have served in the military. We have been treated as royalties. We are treated differently. But in Jamaica, the disrespect of the police force by this government and the opposition leader, the PMP LGBTQ plus party, and the JLP LGBTQ plus government, the disrespect of our police officers is not only shocking but surprising that members who are serving in the police force are required by them to be fingerprinted to get a firearm license. I want you to listen. Members of the police force in Jamaica has to be fingerprinted to get a firearm license and to go through the same thing as the average citizens. Now, to show you the disrespect of these people, that they have no respect for our members of the security force. When I'm talking about the security force, I'm talking about the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Because if you notice, members of the Jamaica Defense Force, they can retire and become commissioner of police, because we have a country. This is not even a banana republic, like how it's a banana republic. You can use it as that, but it's a field state. Jamaica is the only place that you can take the groundsman and turn the groundsman into the CEO or the chairman of any organization. Jamaica is the only place that you can have the porter, not me, cleaning the floor of the hospital, and he becomes the head of the neurosurgery department, because that's how it is there in Jamaica. The corruption is rife within every layers of government. The commissioner of police, at no time has this man has ever came out publicly and defend the police officers who are serving in the police force, past and present, that these people should have their firearms and should be treated with respect, because these people have served the highland of Jamaica with honor, courage and commitment. That's all police officers who have served deserve to be harmed according to them. If a police officers are run afoul of the law, they should be treated as such, but not to be used as a brush to paint everyone. If a police officer is convicted of a crime, or there's intelligence, and then not only intelligence, there's evidence to support what is being said about this member, then that should be a different scenario and things should be in a different forum and dealt with appropriate. But not with this government. The hatred for the police is real. And as you can see right here, both men. That's Mr. Shane Dalling, the one in the grey suit, and Mr. Audley Carter, the one in the blue suit, retired colonel of the JDF. These members are enemies of the American government and its citizens. And the reason why I'm saying that, the attack on the police force by these men, it's a form of retaliation because of the extradition of the strongman, Christopher Dudusco, who was wanted in the United States of America for various crimes, and because of the efforts of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and their cooperation with the American law enforcement agency in making sure that this man was extradited to the United States of America. And for that, the Jamaica government, under the leadership of St. Andrew Holiness, this Prime Minister, they have shown the police force, not even little, they have shown them no respect. So here is a man who is the Commissioner of Police to show you the corruption within the Jamaican government against the police force and its members. So what they're saying is that there's no fit and proper person to lead the police force. But the thing is that you have to understand that how the police force operates in Jamaica, you have to be a corrupt and compromised person. Just as Major Anthony Anderson, who is not a certified law enforcement officer, and he could not, and I said, and he could not get a job within certain agency, especially in a tri-rail, because he's not a certified police officer. You understand? He would have to be working as a USO police, USO security guard. He could not even receive that form of certification in America. But in Jamaica, you know, corruption is rampant and rife. We have a system here, corruption is the order of the day. So these two men are the ones who are leading the charge against our police force and its members. When a police officer in Jamaica is through with his job, he has to hand over his firearm and he has to take the same public vehicle with the people them that he has been policing. Most of these criminals, they know that the police officers do not have a firearm when they leave. So their life is at risk. So it's easy for them to get killed. In Jamaica, killing a police officer is one of the most significant things a criminal can do. And we have seen it over and over again. And both men, Mr. Shane Dalling and Arthur Carter, who is a retired colonel of the Jamaica Defense Force, it is evident that both men hate the United States of America and members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force because of their part that they had played in the role of extraditing Christopher Dudusco from Jamaica. This war is real. The war that is going on right now is real. It's not only against the United States of America, but it's against current and former member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. There are several people who live in the United States of America who were police officers, but they are able to keep their firearm license back in Jamaica because of their political connection. So if you're a part of the cabal that's there, then you'll be protected. But like our police officer here who was killed, police officer Jason Rivera, of the New York City Police Department, then he is one of them. That Mr. Audley Carter, retired colonel of the Jamaica Defense Force, and Mr. Shane Dalling gladly revoked 3 police officers who are members of the NYPD, one of the finest police departments in the world, licensed Firearm, because Mr. Shane Dalling said that these police officers do not need any firearms because they are not living in Jamaica and they are working in the United States as police officers, in which Mr. Shane Dalling and Mr. Audley Carter have seen police officers who have migrated and become members of the NYPD and other police agencies in America as traitors and enemies, because how dare them to leave their beloved Jamaica and migrate to America and join the police force of our enemy, because our enemy had extradited Christopher Dudusco and now you are working with them. Well, we have to punish you for that because you're taking side with our enemies. So now it's for us to show the American government where our loyalties lie, and our loyalty lies with law and order. So I am begging and beseeching members who are in the diaspora. I'll be putting up a link, my email address, and I'm going to start the petition through the Department of State, the Department of Justice, to make sure that these men and their family do not enjoy that privilege of visiting the United States of America or their families, because they are enemies of the United States of America. And once you're an enemy of the United States of America, they are our enemies because they are supporters of criminality and they are criminals themselves. We have to protect our police officers who have served in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, and special treatment should be meted out to them. If a police officers who have served in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, there's no reason for them to be giving Mr. Shane Dalling or the FLA their addresses in the United States of America. Reason being, we know that Jamaica is a very corrupt island, and for these people to give their friends, their criminal friends who are living in America, who are selling drugs, who are dealing in firearms and ammunition in the drug trade here in America, for them to give them these police officers who have served Jamaica Constabulary Force with honor, courage and commitment, their address, for their cronies to come and kill them. It's wrong. No one, no Jamaicans should be giving these people their home address in the United States of America, because the reason why you have a license firearm in Jamaica is because you're a Jamaican by birth. And secondly, you have served the Jamaica Constabulary Force and its citizens in protecting these people's life and property for years, for decades. What of Mr. Shane Daniel's contribution to the Jamaican people? All his contribution is the support of Christopher Dudusco and his war that he has launched, his covert war that he has launched against the United States of America. And it's time now for Uncle Sam to retaliate against Mr. Audley Carter, the retired Jamaican Defense Force Colonel, who's an enemy of the United States of America. And I must admit that both men are enemies of the United States of America. If they were enemies of the United States of America, there would be no reason for them to revoke police officers, licensed firearms, who live in the United States of America. And by doing that, if they are retaliating against former members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force who are living in the United States of America. That means there's no reason for them to enjoy the privilege of having a United States of America visa. And if they do possess a green card, it should be revoked because they're not working and paying taxes in America. It should be revoked. You understand? It should be revoked and entering because when someone have a green card, there is no reason for them. If you're not living in the United States, you don't need a green card. It should be revoked. You understand? Mr. Shane Dalling and Mr. Audley Carter are enemies of the United States of America and law enforcement agency. They're one of the biggest enemy of the New York Police Department. They have revoked the firearm license of 3 current members of the New York Police Department who were police officers in Jamaica. And the reason why they revoked their firearm license in Jamaica is because these police officers are police officers in the United States of America and because they were police officers back in Jamaica. Thanks for watching the Jamaica Young Police channel. Remember to like and share the video. And there's more coming about Mr. Shane Dalling and his corrupt friends back in Jamaica who are fighting this covert war against the United States of America and members of the Jamaica Constabulary.